everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 4-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. If you tuned in yesterday, hopefully you played a bunch of De'Aaron Fox because he was my lock of the night. Been on a roll with those. If you're new to the channel, stick around to the end of the video where I'll give you my lock of the night for tonight's slate. But he came in at a 7-9 price tag. I said, get this guy in your lineups, up-tempo game. Absolutely love De'Aaron Fox. And he put up 77.5 DraftKings points. And on a 3-game slate, it was a 4-game slate that turned into 3 games because of the Oklahoma City-Philadelphia game getting canceled. He was only about 25% owned in the big $15 tournament over there on DraftKings. So, yeah, I was really surprised by the ownership. Only 25% on a slate that small. I was really happy to get him at that ownership. And then he went out there and put up, 77.5 DraftKings points. So, if you played him, you're looking real good. So looking to keep it going in this one with my lock of the night for sure. Stay tuned to the end of the video for that. You can check out my Patreon package over here on Patreon where you can get access to my premium NBA projections. These are the things that I really weigh on for my own lineups and things that make me, decide my top plays. Premium NBA projections, my NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, and my NBA Discord chat access. I do offer some more stuff over there as well, so check that out if you're interested. But some sheets that'll give you access to which teams are good in transition defensively, which teams are good offensively, usage rates, projections, all of that fun stuff. So go ahead and check that out if interested. And with that being said, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that, guys. YouTube tells me about 60% of my audience doesn't subscribe, so if you could do that, if you do enjoy it, go ahead. I'll be here all NBA season long breaking down these DFS slates to help you become better NBA DFS players, to help you win some money. So all that out of the way, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. Milwaukee at Brooklyn, the first game on the slate. This one's going to be an exciting one because we have, James Harden on the Brooklyn Nets now. We have James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. Kyrie is questionable to return. If he returns in this one, it's going to be a new dynamic of a team as far as usage rate's concerned. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. If he continues to be out, of course, James Harden and Kevin Durant are going to get all the usage on this team. They both are great plays in this one in a game that comes in with a 237.5 over-under with a 2-point spread. So I'm going to want to be jamming in every piece of this game possible on this slate because, this total is just crazy. And then not to mention, the only problem we ever have with Milwaukee as far as playing them is if the game stays close, and this game's definitely going to stay close. So I love Giannis. I love James Harden. I love Kevin Durant. Now, of course, the Kyrie news does kind of, keep up in the air how much I really do like these guys. But even if Kyrie comes back, I don't know if you could play all 3 guys. They're probably going to have a hard time all 3 getting there, but I think you could still play 2 guys. I'd feel pretty good about it, honestly. James Harden's definitely pumped to be on his new team. He's definitely not happy to be in Houston, so I'd expect him to be playing a lot better. And then Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are also really interesting options in this one. Chris Middleton's a guy that I think's been a little bit overpriced for the games they've been in, not competitive games. But in this one where the game's actually expected to stay competitive at 8K, Chris Middleton has 60, 70 point upside legitimately on DraftKings, so I like him. And same rule applies for Drew Holiday. I think the usage is very condensed in both of these teams. It's very obvious. You're having to pay up for all the options. They're all the pay-up options for good reason, though. That's where the ball is going, all the time to these guys. And those would be the ones I'm looking to pay for. You got Harden, Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. All these guys, depending upon your lineup build and how much salary you have, you can throw in and feel really, really good about them with the usage they're getting on their teams. Let's see. Joe Harris, is going to be more of just a spot-up shooter, less on-ball. Not that he ever had really a lot of on-ball responsibility, but they're just going to be dishing it to him when he's open with James Harden on the team now. So he's an interesting option at 5'8". You could play him, but not exactly, the top play on the slate. And then DeAndre Jordan at 4'8" is a very good play as well. With no more Jarrett Allen, he doesn't have to compete with Jarrett Allen for those minutes no longer. He is the sole center on the team, so I would like him. And that's pretty much my, overall interest in this one. Moving further, one thing that could be interesting if Kyrie Irving continues to be out is some backup point guard minutes for Tyler Johnson. He got 18 minutes last time out, put up 22.75 DraftKings points, and he is only 3K on DraftKings. So he's an interesting value play. Maybe a guy you could throw in, to fit in some of these top studs we talked about in this game. Dallas at Toronto, 11K. Luka Doncic, another stud on the slate. This game comes in with a 219 over/under though, with a 3.5 point spread. So not exactly the same pace, and Luka is the most expensive guy on the slate. So honestly, if you want my take on things, I'll probably be fading Luka. And I don't know. It's tough to say that. Luka's been on a hot streak. 77.75, 63.5, and 87.5 DraftKings points. It's just the matchup against Toronto, a very good defensive team. Taking on the defense of a guy like Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, help side with guys like OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. It's just tough to play this guy when I could be playing, studs priced around the same range in a 237.5 over/under game compared to this one that's only at a 219 over/under. So don't get me wrong, Luka's a good player. Maybe he'll get some lower ownership than expected, and that might increase my interest in him. It's just, like I said, it's just tough to, it's tough to go there when we have another up-tempo game and guys in similar price tags. But if Kyrie Irving's back, maybe that'll make me lean more towards Luka as well, because as mentioned, that would spread the usage a little more thin. Pascal Siakam, priced up at 8.4, he could get you there, but honestly, his upside's been kind of limited in his role in this offense. I have more interest in Chris Boucher, who seems to be really taking a big role in this offense at 7.1. He's put up 37.5, 40, 48.5, and 37.75 DraftKings points. Continues to see his price tag increase, but for those of you that have been playing DFS for a while, Chris Boucher is just an absolute fantasy point per minute beast. He just wasn't getting a lot of minutes before this year. Now he's finally stepping into a role in this team, so I do like him a lot. For sure. Kristaps Porzingis continues to be a little bit limited coming off his injury. I mean, he did play 33 minutes last time out, so that's the most we've seen out of him, but it's going to be a back-to-back in this one. Maybe he'll rest. Maybe he won't even play. And if he does play, I don't really have interest in him because I think he's going to be, limited enough to where we can't really be going there yet. Tim Hardaway Jr. is questionable in this one. Looks like he is a true questionable, so I have to keep an eye on that one. If he's out, that's going to open up more usage for Willie Cauley-Stein, Trey Burke, James Johnson, DFS and Josh Richardson continue to be out as well as Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell. So, you'd be looking at some really good Jalen Brunson minutes. Honestly, Jalen Brunson, a pretty good value play as well, in my opinion, at only 4K, especially if Tim Hardaway Jr. is out. Trey Burke and Jalen Brunson are going to get a lot more usage. So those guys become interesting value plays. And then you could be looking at a Wes Iwundu. A very bad fantasy point per minute producer, to be honest, but he played 30 minutes last time and got 16.25 DraftKings points. I mean, I'm just trying to give you guys some value plays to fit in all these studs we're talking about. And if you have to go there, you have to go there. And then not to mention, Boban Marjanovic should get some minutes in this one. He got 4 and 6 minutes the last 2 times out, but in a matchup with some bigger guys on the Toronto side. Guys like Chris Boucher, Pascal Siakam. I could see him getting a few minutes in this one, so maybe he's an interesting option as well. But yeah, that's pretty much my overall interest in this one. Got to keep an eye on that Tim Hardaway Jr. News, because if he's out, that definitely opens up some usage, for these guys. They would become great value plays. I mean, on the Toronto side, it's the same guys as always. It's Kyle Lowry, it's Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, Chris Boucher. All these guys get like 40 minutes a game. All of them, they get all the usage in the offense. So they get a lot of minutes. They get a lot of usage. So, be looking to these guys really based upon your lineup build. I do like all of them. They're all priced pretty similarly, and they all have a pretty similar upside. I would lean towards VanVleet, Lowry, and Boucher because they're priced in the 7K range as opposed to Siakam. So, based on price tags and even minutes, even distribution in the offense for the most part, I'd lean those guys. And then you could play Norman Powell at 4.8 as well, getting around 30 minutes a game on a good night. Most nights around 20, 25. So maybe an interesting dart throw, but I'd rather go to those other guys, VanVleet, Lowry, and Boucher. Houston at Chicago. I believe that Victor Oladipo is expected to make his debut in this one for the Houston side. I don't see him listed on DraftKings, though. So keep an eye on that one. Not exactly sure why he's not listed. I think he's making his debut, though, and I'm guessing DraftKings is going to add him into the player pool. So keep an eye on that one. This one comes in with a 1-point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls. No over-under released yet. I would expect this game to have a pretty decent over-under as well. John Wall continues to be out, it looks like. Eric Gordon, DeMarcus Cousins are questionable. So we have some pending injury news here. Eric Gordon looks more so probable, though, so expect him to go. And then DeMarcus Cousins is probable as well. So I don't think we have to worry about them being out. Thomas Satoransky could continue to be out for the Bulls. You got Sterling Brown on the Milwaukee side, who is questionable. But he's not going to have a big role anyways. I don't know why Oladipo's not listed, but Oladipo's going to be in. I think he's a great play. Unfortunately, I can't really reflect on his price tag because he's not listed. So, that would help my case as far as saying how much I like him, but I can't really say that right now. He's going to be the number one guy in this offense. He's going to get a lot of usage, so he's going to be a great play. So I'm just interested to see where he's priced at. Christian Wood at 8-9 is going to continue to see a lot of usage as well with no James Harden. Now it's going to be just him and Oladipo for the most part. This guy's been putting up around 60 DraftKings points a game the last 2 times out, so he makes a lot of sense against the Chicago Bulls front court that's not very good defensively. Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. don't scare me on the defensive end. But Christian Wood doesn't scare me on the defensive end either, so I think we could be looking at these guys as well. Lauri Markkanen put up 30 and 47.5 DraftKings points the last 2 times out. He's got a bunch of upside, and he's a good 3-point shooter for a big man, so I do like him a lot on DraftKings where you get that bonus. Same thing for Wendell Carter Jr. 39, 33 DraftKings points. These guys are some pretty good value front court options, so I definitely like both of them. DeMarcus Cousins is an interesting option off the bench at 5K if you want to go there. But honestly, my interest is really Christian Wood, and Eric Gordon, and Victor Oladipo. That's what I'd be looking to. You could be playing a Ben McLemore off the bench as well at 4-7, but that's a big price tag increase from what we were paying before for him at 3-6. So probably not looking to go there all too much. And then, of course, Zach LaVine and Kobe White. Didn't mean to skip over them. They're just kind of the most obvious plays. I mean, Zach LaVine's put up 66, 59, and 55 DraftKings points at 9.5. He's a good tournament option for sure. Taking on this Houston team that doesn't scare me too much defensively. I mean, he might have Victor Oladipo on him in his debut, and Victor Oladipo is a pretty good on-ball defender. So, maybe a slight decrease to him, but Oladipo's not going to have much help on this Houston team. Pretty bad defensively outside of him. So. And then you got Kobe White as well at a 7-6 price tag, who definitely can have a big game at this price tag and make you happy. So at the guard position, a lot of that's going to come down to the that Dallas value opening up or not, whether we're playing these guys or not. I have a feeling. So I'll have to keep an eye on my projections for sure. But my lean is depending upon that Dallas news. That's going to determine what we're doing with our lineup. So. Last game on the slate, Golden State at the Los Angeles Lakers. We got LeBron James and Anthony Davis questionable, as they always are. I'd expect them to go into this one and play. They're just questionable every night and make our lives difficult. Looks like LeBron's listed as a true questionable. Anthony Davis is listed as probable. So whatever that means, let's just act like LeBron's going to play, I guess, because he just does every time. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is probable, so not really much injury news to report in this one. Game comes in with a 224.5 over-under with an 8.5-point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers, and I do have a feeling this game could turn into a blowout with the Lakers running away in this one. So, that would be the only thing that's limiting my appeal. Not to mention, the matchup's just not really the greatest for the Golden State side. So. You could definitely have interest in, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but I have a feeling they're going to be kind of on cruise control in this one. I'd rather pay up for some of the guys we talked about in that Milwaukee-Brooklyn game. Personally, so, sure, play them if you want, but if you want my honest opinion, I'm leaning towards going to the other guys, and the same rule applies for Steph Curry, to be honest. Steph Curry's always a very good play on DraftKings where you get that 3-point bonus, and he's going to have to shoot the lights out to keep his team in the game, so he always does make sense as a tournament play, don't get me wrong. It's just, not exactly the best matchup taking on this Lakers defense, who's a very, very good defense. So kind of scared to go there, and that's pretty much sums up my interest in this game. I mean, I'm not really interested in anyone, to be honest, at these price tags. I mean, you could play a Montrezl Harrell in the hopes of a blowout, and he comes in and gets a little bit of garbage time, and he's a very good fantasy point producer, so that makes sense at 5.7. And that's pretty much, where I'd be looking to in this one. And that is my breakdown. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be no other than James Harden. Number 13 is back on the Brooklyn squad. Actually excited to play some basketball. I think we're going to see this guy go back to being, the DraftKings producer that he was last season. When he's interested, when he's actually wanting to play, this guy has triple-double upside every single time he takes the floor. I have a feeling they're going to want to get him a lot of shots early on this team, get him in rhythm with his teammates. Last time out, putting up 79.5 DraftKings points, 32 points, 4 steals, 1 block, 14 assists, 12 rebounds. Getting to the line, 15 free throw attempts. He only went 3 for 10 from behind the arc. We all know that James Harden can shoot better than that from behind the arc as far as three-pointers are concerned. And he was taking on an Orlando team where the total wasn't even as high as this one. In a competitive game, taking on these Milwaukee Bucks, I expect James Harden to have a very big game again. Have a ton of interest in him. He's ready to roll. 80-plus DraftKings points upside every single time he takes the floor, and I think he can get you around 80 DraftKings points tonight. James Harden is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. James Harden, get him in your lineups at this 10-8 price tag, taking on this Milwaukee team, a 237.5 over under a 2-point spread. James Harden finally out of Houston. Finally feels free. I absolutely love him in this one. Get him in your lineups. If you did enjoy the content, if you could leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. As mentioned, YouTube does mention about 60% of my viewers are not subscribed. So if you do enjoy the content, just hit that subscribe button. It's going to help me out a ton. I appreciate it. And if you are interested in some further content from me, some premium projections, some core plays, if you want to chat with me and ask me questions up until lock, you can check out my Patreon package linked below. That is all from me. I will see you in the next one. Wish you all the best of luck tonight, and have a good one.